Mic is on, okay?
All right.
That would suck so
I know, right?
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the video. This is, oh my gosh, I am so excited to film this video. I'm here with my friend Zach, and we actually met, how long ago was it? Like a year ago, almost?
About a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, so we met at a meetup that I did in Balboa Park here in San Diego, and Zach has an absolutely amazing story, but one that I really don't know that much about, which is perfect, because I didn't want to know too much about it before we filmed this video. So if you kind of want to just let people know, your highest weight, just everything about you, your name and everything,
All right, yeah. So I'm Zach, I'm 24 years old, 6 foot tall. At my biggest weight, I was 463 pounds. And then today I weighed in at 227. So total weight loss of about 236 pounds now.
Dude, that is 230, like, so for reference, at my highest I was 360. So you were basically a full 100 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
And I've lost 160, you've lost 236. 236 pounds. Look at him, like, he looks awesome. So obviously when we met at Balboa Park, I've been wanting to do this video for so long, and we've been trying to figure out. Luckily, he was gracious enough to come drive down to San Diego and film this with us. So I'm just so excited. Obviously, I want to know everything. So I want to know, like, everything about your journey, just because that is, to me, that's inspiring. So I can only imagine to some people watching out there. So let's just start from the very beginning, right? When did you start gaining weight? Did you start gaining weight from when you were a kid, or was there a moment? Like, what made you start gaining weight?
Yeah, no, I was just always big. You know, I've always gained weight, like, progressively throughout my life. My dad's big, my grandpa's big, so it was kind of just, all my male role models were big. Everybody ate a lot. My family gatherings were always centered around food.
Yeah.
So I just naturally just gained weight my whole life. There's a brief period when I was like a toddler, probably like 3 or 4 years old, where my mom always tells me, like, you weren't that big.
Yeah.
But it was like, I was still overweight. I just wasn't quite, like, I wouldn't say I was obese.
Yeah.
I think I started really packing on weight probably around 1st, 2nd grade is when I really started getting big.
Okay.
I think after high school was another big point for me.
Yeah. Could you tell when you were in like 4th grade that you were heavier than everybody?
Oh yeah, no, I basically knew my whole life that I was bigger than everybody. Yeah, and I mean, I was always taller than everybody too. Yeah. So it was just kind of
interesting. Yeah.
It didn't really faze me. Like, I didn't really think like, oh man, I'm like way fatter than everybody. I was just like, I'm bigger than everybody.
See, my thing was, I was short, and I still am short. But I remember my mom used to tell me when I was growing up, like, oh, you're gonna grow into it. Like, you'll grow this way, and then this will shrink.
Right.
So it was kind of opposite for you. You were just big. You were just a big guy. Yeah.
Right. And then I think that kind of worked against me a little bit, because I kind of took on that persona as the big guy.
Yeah.
And so
trust me, I get it.
Yeah. Exactly. So then, I mean, the doctor said the same thing about me too. They said that, he'll hit a growth spurt, he'll grow into it, and they were always testing my thyroid and stuff growing up, because, I went through puberty pretty young too, so they thought that I had thyroid issues, but my thyroid was always normal.
Yeah.
So that was never the case.
It's like, dang it.
I know, right? Like, give me a pill, make me skinny, But no, that was not the case. Yeah, it wasn't until after high school is when I really started thinking about, like, okay, like, you need to start losing weight. You kind of do
Now, to interrupt you, do you remember your weight when you were like in high school, or like did you gain a lot right after? Or anything?
I only gained about 40 pounds after high school.
Okay.
In high school, I was right around 420.
Okay.
So yeah, I was.
So were you like the biggest dude at the high school?
Oh yeah, by far. And not even the biggest dude. I was just the biggest. I wasn't the tallest. But I was definitely the biggest.
The whitest.
Yeah, like I could barely fit in the desks at school. Dude, that was a struggle. Yep. And then, but yeah, so I've always basically been the biggest guy. Yeah. And then, there was never really moments where I'd like look at other people and be like, oh, like, you're not as big as him. It was always just kind of like, no,
you're bigger than him.
you're the biggest guy around. But it's
it's my thing.
Exactly. At that point, I had basically accepted that as me, so it wasn't like I beat myself up that much about it. Like, obviously I was self-conscious about it, and like some things I would be like insecure, like I never really talked to girls, I never thought girls would like me. And so it's like there was a little stuff like that, but for the most part, I always had a ton of friends. I always I was never really outcast because of my weight, so that was nice.
I keep wanting to just interrupt you, because you're literally like, that's exactly how it was for me, because people don't realize when you've been big your whole life, like, that's all you've ever known.
Right.
Like, so in your head, that's just who you are, period. Like, there's no changing it, really.
It's your normal
you
life.
have, like, I know for me at least, I would have literal dreams of being slimmer, but like, that's what they were in my head. It's like, this is just a dream. So in my head, I was big. Like, that's just how it was. So there was no other like alternate reality other than that. So it was like, why not make the best of what I have, right? So the best of being the big guy was me making fun of myself all the time and me trying to fit in that way, like being the big guy, the big funny fat guy.
Well, I mean, to touch on that, it's kind of like you almost feel like you're destined for that. Like you feel like that is, no matter what, you're gonna be big. You know what I mean? That's, I literally believe that. I believe that no matter what, my whole life I was gonna just be overweight. It's like, I never really saw myself like as being a slimmer person. It never crossed my mind.
And I remember I honestly believed that, and this isn't even like a negative way of thinking, at least at the time. Like, I didn't think of like, oh, I'm being really negative. It was like, I just thought that I was probably gonna die before I hit 45, and it was probably gonna be, I know it sounds really terrible. It sounds terrible, but I mean, it was just like, for me, it was just realistic. I was just being realistic with everything. Like, probably before I'm 45, I'm gonna have some sort of heart attack or something like that. Because I remember being 20 years old, afraid to be home alone, because I was like, I'm gonna have, I'm afraid I'm gonna have a heart attack or something like that, you know? And so it was just like you said, like, it was just, I just thought I was always gonna be big, you know?
See, I never really had that problem because, like I said, my dad's big, my grandpa's big. They're obviously way older than me, and they've been big. So it was like, you know, I didn't think like, oh, I'm gonna die early until 2012.
Okay.
My dad had a major heart attack. He had 8 blockages in his heart. He had to get an open heart quadruple bypass surgery. So then after that happened, I was 19 at the time, and that's when I was like, whoa, okay, like this is kind of real now. You know what I mean? Like, before it was kind of like I would go to the doctor, they'd be like, your cholesterol's fine, your blood pressure's fine, you know, everything's fine. And then it wasn't until that moment that I was kind of like, I might die because of this. You know what I mean? Like, I better go to the doctor. And then, so I went to the doctor and I scheduled an appointment just to like run my labs, see if everything was okay. And then that's when I got diagnosed with hypertension. So I had high blood pressure. They put me on blood pressure medication. And then that's when I kind of decided, okay, it's time to change this, you know? Because I remember thinking, I had this thought, and I was like, Zach, you've gotten bigger your whole life. Like, are you going to keep getting bigger every year? Or is it finally time to where you're gonna stop getting bigger and start taking control of this and start getting slimmer? And so I actually decided that I was gonna get a bariatric surgery. And then my insurance makes you take this 6-week class. In order to kind of learn the habits, because a lot of people still get big after they have their bariatric surgeries. So through that class, I lost like 50 pounds. You know, they had me counting my calories, logging my food, turning in my food logs and stuff. And so after I had like, I'd done that for a while, I lost 50 pounds throughout that 6 weeks, and I was like, you know what?
Was that the first time you'd ever lost like that amount of weight?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that was the first time I ever felt like I was in control of that. You know what I mean? Because there was other times where, like, when I played football in high school, I dropped some weight, but I didn't feel like it was because of me, you know, almost. Like, I almost just felt like, it was like, oh yeah, I'm moving more, so that's probably why I'm losing weight. You know, but this time it was like an actual plan, like, okay, no, I'm going to lose weight, I'm gonna clean up my diet, I'm gonna start exercising regularly. And so after I lost that 50 pounds, you know, I remember going into the surgeon, because I had made it through the class, obviously. And I remember telling the surgeon, just like, you know, I don't think I'm gonna do it. You know, because there's a lot of complications that come along with that. And I was
It's a major surgery.
And it's like, the main things for me was the dumping syndrome. Where it's like your body can't tolerate sugar anymore. So I was like, man,
I want some sugar still.
It was, exactly. I was like, do I really want to give up like having a slice of cake on my birthday or something? You know what I mean?
That's the thing that a lot of people that are maybe like ignorant to the surgery and what it entails, like they think it's just an easy way out, which I think it does make it a little bit easier.
It's a tool.
I wouldn't say that it makes it completely like you don't have to do anything and you just lose weight.
I think it just kind of forces you into new habits. To where if but if you still break away from those new habits that it forces you into, it's not end all be all. You'll get big again. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a cure-all. If it was a cure-all, then maybe I'd say it's an easy way out. But no, it's not. It's just a tool to help you kind of force yourself into those habits so your mind can catch up.
Okay.
Because, you know, it puts physical limitations.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, that is so interesting. Okay, so you lose the 50 pounds, you tell the surgeon that you're no longer going to have the surgery anymore. What was their kind of reaction, and then what was the plan? What were the steps that you took after that?
Yeah, so his reaction was fine. He's like, yeah, you know, if you feel like you can do this on your own, and you've obviously, you know, lost a good amount of weight, he's like, do it, you know, because I really felt like, because in that class, I was 19 years old. Everybody else in that class was like 30 plus.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
And I was
young,
like,
man.
I was looking around and like they would have us do like these little workouts in the class, and it's like the workouts were easy for me, like easy. And like I saw all these other people struggling, and I was like, I think this surgery is not for me. Because for me, my problem isn't that I can't do it. My problem is that I don't do it.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I just apply some discipline and just start doing it, then I can do this. And so, I mean, after that, after I decided I wasn't gonna get the surgery, I just basically kept on with counting my calories, kept on with going to the gym. And then after I lost about 100 pounds my first year of doing that. Okay. And then that's when I really started like, I started to be able to see my traps, my collarbones started coming in. And then I was like, oh. I think I'm gonna start lifting weights.
You start seeing a different person, and like, it's like this person that you always, at least for me, I don't want to speak for you, but for me, like, it was this person that I always felt like was there, but it was like trapped inside of this like obese version that I kind of made myself. Yeah,
I definitely felt like I was trapped in obesity. But as I started getting, and still to this day, as I get like leaner and leaner, it's just surprised. I don't feel like I almost feel like I'm a completely different person. Like I don't recognize myself anymore. When I look back at old pictures, because I mean, I started when I was 19, and I'm 24 now, so it's like I'm pretty far removed from it now too. And I look back and I can't even comprehend anymore what it was like to take up that much space.
No, I get it, man.
I'll grab my old pants, I'll throw them on.
I saw that picture you posted.
How did I feel these at one point in my life? Like, and my brain doesn't even want to compute it, you know? And like, I've lost 236 pounds. I weigh 227. So I've lost more than my weight. And so it's like, I look in the mirror and I try and think like, okay, I used to be 2 of me, basically. And it's like, my brain won't do it. It won't let me comprehend
it's almost impossible to comprehend. So you lost 100 pounds. It's been a year now.
Right.
Did you have to change anything? Was there any like plateaus that you hit or anything like that?
No, because actually when I first started losing weight, I was very strict with my diet, because it's like in that class.
Well, you had to,
they teach you all the stuff you need to eat and stuff, and so it's like they teach you the stuff to stay away from, and this and that, and then so since I was in the mindset of, you're gonna do this because you want to live a long life, and you're gonna die if you don't do it otherwise. The eating clean was super easy for me. I was eating really clean every single meal, to the point to where the dietitian at the class told me I needed to eat more, because they put me on 5,000 calories to lose weight in the beginning, and I was
That's actually really interesting. I thought that you were gonna be like, I started on something crazy like 900 calories.
Oh no.
See, and that's the thing I always say, like when you are morbidly obese, you can eat a lot of food and still lose weight.
I kind of miss it sometimes, to be honest.
So 5,000, that's insane. I think that's important. Like he was eating 5,000 calories and you were still losing weight. And you lost 50 pounds.
But I couldn't eat 5,000 calories. Because I was to the point to where I was eating like chicken breast, broccoli, rice, egg whites, all that sort of stuff. So it was kind of like, I was struggling to hit even like 2,500 calories a day.
But a dietitian said you should be eating 5,000.
Oh yeah. Well, and
that's a big thing. That
when I would turn in my food logs at 2,500 or 2,000 calories, she was like, "You need to eat more."
That's awesome. That's really good to hear.
How do I eat? I'm like, I'm literally stuffing food like, because that's the thing is, I didn't realize that if you eat the right foods, you can eat all day long, like all day long. At least in the beginning. And so she was like, just eat like more nuts and stuff, because they're more dense in calories. So that's what I started doing. I started eating more almonds and stuff. It was definitely an eye-opening experience to log on my food and see and realize that I could get way more bang for my buck, basically, with better, healthier foods. If you're eating whole foods, it's really easy to not overeat. That was a big turning point, was when I kind of learned like, oh, okay, so this is how nutrition works. And then after that, I just I dove straight in. Like I did so much research about nutrition. I just started researching the heck out of everything weight loss because it was like, I literally thought I couldn't do it.
Yes.
That's why I looked into getting a bariatric surgery, is because I thought this is my only option, is I have to get a stomach surgery in order to lose weight. And then I was like, no, I just kind of have to educate myself in order to lose weight. Yeah, so that was definitely a great thing that happened.
That's awesome, because like one of the points that I've made in a couple videos is like, education is key, and it sounds so cheesy, but if you educate yourself, you don't have to rely on a dietitian, right, to tell yourself. You're just like, oh, I know this because I saw that myself from my own eyes. I'm not trusting somebody that I don't really know that well. I saw it, I believe that the research I did was good, so I'm gonna do this and that, and that's such a huge thing. So you lose the 100 pounds, and then what was next after that? Was it just kind of smooth sailing from there? Or?
Yeah, it was honestly a bit easier from there. That's, like I said, after I lost that first 100 pounds is when I started seeing more like of my structure and my muscle mass, and so then it was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna start lifting weights. And then because at first I barely did any sort of exercise at first. It was hard, and I was achy. I didn't like it. So at first I would go into the gym 10 minutes 3 times a week and sit on a stationary bike. And that was it. That was all. And for the first 100 pounds, you know, it was all diet basically. And then after that, I started seeing my muscles, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna start lifting too. So then I started incorporating lifting, and then once I started doing that, then I started falling back in love with lifting, and it was like, okay. Then things started becoming way easier, because then I looked forward to going to the gym.
Yeah, that's such a huge, like, you are, I feel like I'm talking to myself, because like, that's almost exactly how it went for me. Like I lost a lot of weight before ever going to the gym, and then I started going to the gym. I was first, for me, it was like I was kind of too nervous to lift because I never played football or anything like that, so I was never in a weight room. So I was like, that's scary to me. But then once I got into lifting, I like fell in love with it, and that's when it, like, my whole mindset and everything shifted for me. From being like, I need to lose weight, to like, I want to, you know, improve my physique. I want to do all of these other things. So was there ever a moment when you were losing weight that you like felt like you were afraid that you were going to go back to your previous weight?
No, definitely not. I never felt like I was gonna get as big as I was again, just because.
Yeah, I was gonna say why.
All the learned habits. You know what I mean? At that point, I felt like I knew too much at that point.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was
it's like the Matrix that opens your mind. Like,
exactly. No, it really is. It's like I took the blue pill because it was like, wait a second, or I think it's the red pill.
But anyways, one of the pills.
It was definitely an eye-opening experience, and then it was like, now that I know so much about nutrition, I know how to not eat if I don't want to gain weight. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And like, sorry, I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry, but I'm so excited, like, because that's, a lot of people ask me, like, are you afraid of gaining the weight? And I'm like, I'm not afraid of gaining the weight because I know so much now. And I know what it would take for me to do that again. To get to 360, maybe I might gain 20 pounds, right? Like, because I'm getting lazy or something. But like, the fact of getting to 360, I would have to, first off, stop doing exactly what I love right now. And then force myself to eat again. So there's just no way that I feel like I will ever get back to that.
After I lost, it was about 2 years into my journey, and I lost about 200 pounds. So I was right around 265 pounds. And then I got with my ex-girlfriend. And that's the only time where I did gain weight back. I gained weight back up to about 280. Just because, you know, she was real small. She didn't have problems with weight.
Go out to eat all the time.
She'd go out to eat. She'd have ice cream in the house all the time. So it's like my eating habits started slacking again. I was still in the gym all the time. So that was cool because I was eating a lot, so I got bigger.
Exactly.
But yeah, then after we broke up, she moved out, then everything was just like way easier.
Absolutely.
It was back to.
So now that you've got all the weight off, right? Not to skip too much, but I feel like we kind of talked most about, you know, the weight loss. You're pretty open about this. That's why I'm cool with asking about it. You have loose skin, kind of similar to me. When you first started to notice that, was it weird? Did you know that it was going to happen? What was kind of your mindset when that happened?
I did not know it was going to happen. That was one of my biggest like motivators for losing weight too. Is like, man, I want to get rid of my chest. I don't want my man boobs anymore. And then it was like I kept losing weight. You know, I lost 100 pounds, 200 pounds. You know, and then it was kind of like, they're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? It was like, wait a second, wait a minute. It was actually, you know, when you did your loose skin video, is when I kind of found the whole fitness community and stuff online. And then that's when it was kind of like, oh,
This is normal.
So I'm basically like, because at that point when I saw your loose skin video, I was at about 275 still.
Okay.
So at that point, I still had a bit of fat in my skin.
Yeah.
So I thought, like as I lose this, it's gonna shrink up. And I mean, it has shrank significantly from at my biggest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
And so once I saw your video, I was kind of like, oh, so that's kind of what I have to expect for the future for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then ever since then, it was kind of like, okay, then I kind of started getting into the right mentality about it. Like, it's something you got to deal with. It's, it doesn't, because for a while there I did get a little discouraged about it, because it was like, I feel like you're putting in a lot of hard work and you're not going to be able to ever really see the benefits of it, basically. And so that kind of struggled with that. I also struggled with a lot of like body dysmorphia from it, because it was like when I looked in the mirror, because of my loose skin, I felt like I was fat still, like always. And like people would tell me like, Zach, you look so good, you're so skinny, and I'm like, I didn't really believe them. I felt like everybody could see my loose skin still. I felt like everybody was like just being nice to me because they saw where I came from and to where I am
like,
now.
oh, he's put in so much work, let's be nice.
Well, and I was significantly smaller than I was, so I felt like because people are comparing me then to now, that they don't see me as big. But if I was always like that my whole life, people would still think I was fat. And so that mentality stuck with me for a little while, but then once I started kind of like, okay, no, like you just have loose skin. You actually look, normal. And so it kind of helped, you know what I mean? I mean, at the same time, it's like I'm not always that comfortable taking my shirt off. Like, I'll do it, it's not a big issue for me. But at the same time, it's like when people stare at me, like, it gets to me.
Nobody likes to be stared at.
Well, that's the thing, and it's not so much like that people look at it, it's just like people will stare at it. You know what I mean? People will sit there like they'll look, look back, and like kind of look you up and down, and it's like, it's not a great feeling, especially when you feel like you've put in so much work and like almost basically dedicated your life to doing this, and then now it's all of a sudden you don't feel like you're reaping the benefits of what you originally expected.
Exactly. So we were talking about this a little bit before. So you recently went, it was yesterday, right?
Yes.
And you had a consultation about removal, right?
Right, yeah. So yesterday I went to LA to get a consultation about the removal of my skin. I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna do it. It is very expensive. But I just had the question to myself, I'm like, is this something you really want to have for the rest of your life? And right now I'm in a position to where I can take time off. I'm in a position to where I have help with the payment. With my mother, she said she would help me out with it. So it's kind of like,
and you can just afford it in general, right? Like it's something. Exactly. It is like when he says very expensive, very like more than a new car expensive.
Oh yeah. Well, I got quoted for a chest reduction and a 360 body lift, and they quoted me at $22,500.
And that's not everything, right? So that's not like legs. Like, so I've talked about this before. Like if I wanted to get everything removed, it would be upwards of like $30,000.
Oh, easy. Easy. Yeah, because that's the thing is, my legs, they don't bother me. You know what I mean? When I go to the beach and I pop my shirt off, or nobody sees my upper thigh. And same thing with my arms. Like I have a bit of skin on my arms, but I mean, nobody really sees that. You know what I mean? And I think it's also part of the mentality of like when I first started, I wanted to get rid of like my gut and my chest basically. Those were the two areas that I hated about myself and I wanted to make smaller. And then now that I'm smaller and they're still basically there, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like I just want to get it out, done,
Awesome. Well, I feel like we've kind of talked about everything. I do want to ask, whenever I do like interviews like this, I have to ask you one question. So what would your tip to somebody that is just starting out losing weight? It could be one tip, it could be a couple, whatever you think. Like, what would you tell to somebody, say if you had a sibling, right? And they were like, I want to be like you, I want to lose weight. What would you tell them?
Count your calories. You have to learn what's in what. That was like an eye-opening experience to me. When I found out, because I used to drink like a gallon of milk to a half gallon of milk every day. When I found out that there was 80 calories in 1 cup of milk and I was drinking like 10 to 12 a day, I was like,
you start to be like, why am I doing that? Like,
well, that was the thing. And so it was like, when you don't know and you come from a place of just eating pure out of just enjoyment, that is one of the biggest problems. You know, don't drink your calories.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, that's another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, most people that are overweight are like me and they like eating food.
Yeah.
So if you're drinking calories, then that's less food you get to eat,
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
in my eyes. And then just do what you can. It doesn't matter if you can't go to the gym for an hour.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's putting in the work in the kitchen. That's really the biggest thing when it comes to weight loss. You can work out all you want, but you have to get your diet in check.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I think we touched on everything. If you want to follow Zach, your Instagram is
Zach Attacks Fat.
Zach Attacks Fat. Is there any underscores?
Yeah, it's underscores for my Instagram, Zach_attacks_fat, and then YouTube, Facebook, it's just Zach Attacks Fat.
Cool, man. Obviously, everything will be linked down in the description. But again, dude, thank you so much for.
Of course,
dude,
man.
This
Thanks
was
for having me.
this was really cool. I mean, honestly, even if I had so much fun recording this. Like I feel like I was smiling the whole time. But again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. What was it? Oh yeah, look up my fam.
Obey the warning signs, and when there are flashing lights or wigwags, don't attempt to cross until they come to a complete stop.